find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Muroff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, look at the toss! They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it! Big Barry! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the JPB Clio Cup Season 4, Round 4 from the Hockenheimring National Circuit. I am James Parfitt. I'm joined in the booth by Zach Sweeney and Craig Jones here as well, who's ventured back into the world of commentary. We didn't scare him as much as Zach was hoping that Craig's turned up once more this week. Let's bring you up to date with the standings here this evening. In the AMs, it is Paul Godden out on front on 192 points, with Jack Andrews in second on 180, Edward Parfitt in third on 170, Charles Kellerman in fourth on 153, with Andy Littler behind him on 140, then Wayne Palmer behind that on 133, Dan Lewis on 126, with Jason Morris in 8th, Chris Dixon 9th, Sir Alan Toon 10th, Ollie Ricks 11th, Mick Barry in 12th, with Dale Benison is still yet to score points. In the team standings, the genuine recycled by results team are out in front, with Jack Andrews and Charles Kellerman on 3-3-3. Then Sim Stickers with Paul Godden and Wayne Palmer on 3-2-5. JPB Racing on 296 with Edward and Dan Lewis. Then you've got the Work Guard by result. Then the iRace Esports, Headweb by result, Spiral by result, and Safeguard by result there as well. In the pro teams, it's Result Clothing Esports team with Pete Newman and Carl Hardy out in front on 3-4-8. SRL Next Gen in second on 3-1-5 with Results Clothing iRacing team on 260. Win It or Bin It Racing in fourth on 234 with Team Radline on 221. Send It or Bend It on 145 and then Photomedia.com on 97. In the pro standings, Pete Newman out in front on 185 with Adam Dalmont in second on 183 and then Carl Hardy in third on 163. Carl Ridley in fourth on 147, then Eric Manifield on 145 with Luke Maxwell on 143. Then you've got Roger Morton, Mark Draper, David Ayres, Carl Jacklett, John Bailiff, John McCutcheon and Adam McNally. Right, so we can bring up the schedule at the moment, and there we are at Hockenheim National. Next week we go off to Lime Rock, then Motorland Aragon Outer, which I'm really excited for. Nürburgring Sprint Strecker Circuit, then Okayama International and Summit Point Raceway. And then, of course, we end the season at Tsukuba, which is going to be very, very exciting. But let's bring Mr. Zach Sweeney into the booth and have a chat with Zach. Good evening, Mr. Sweeney, dear sir. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very good again. It was all right. And usually I look forward to Clios on the Mondays because it's usually the only good thing about a Monday. And then obviously Craig Jones is in the team speak once again, which is fine. It's fine. It just means we have to work harder again today to get rid of him. But all in all, Clios, Hockenheimring, pretty good combination. And, well, let's bring it on.
Craig, welcome in, dear sir. Your response to Zach Sweeney's wonderful comments about you.
Well, the only good thing about a Monday night isn't on track at the moment. So that's all I'm going to say.
And that would be John McCutcheon, who unfortunately hasn't made it this week here as well. So hopefully John will be back soon and we can have the great Scott back on track there once more, of course, for what plans to be some epic evening of racing. It's been a very interesting season so far. Don't worry, guys, we have not got 20 minutes of practice left. There was an issue with the session earlier on. The session will advance in about, well, very shortly, in fact, as it is 8 p.m. We will go into quali and then we will get the racing up underway. The format's still not changed. We've still got two 20-minute races, followed 3 20-minute races, with a top 10 reverse on race 2 and a top 15 on race 3. Some great times out at the moment there, Zach. Adam Dalmont out in front with Pete Newman in second and Luke Maxwell bringing it to the pros this week in third with Mark Draper sitting in fourth. Some great action going on, and then Pete Newman, Adam Dalmont once more out in front.
Yeah, those two can't really get enough of the top two spaces. And once again, it's Delmont actually leading the way in terms of raw pace. Newman not a million miles behind, but expect Newman to obviously make some good inroads over the course, not only in qualifying, but also into the 3 races. He's really strong at that, and just able to obviously make the most of consistency. But also Delmont in those reverse grid races actually carves his way through the field a lot more efficiently than Newman. But it's the consistency of Newman that in the end only sees him like a couple of places behind usually in the reverse grid races. So should once again hopefully be a really good rivalry.
Yeah, hopefully it should be a continued battle here. Hockenheimring National, for anybody that hasn't seen it before, it's the short version. We take out the Spitzkare hairpin, which I know some people love and some people don't. We go round at turn from the Parabolica. We dive down halfway through, down into turn 6 and 7, which leads us into Mercedes. So we take out the hairpin and we take out the fast right-hander of turn 7. Craig, the drivers this week got a bit of a different prospect with Hockenheimring this week as well. They haven't got the Spitzkare hairpin to be able to make the overtakes. Where are they likely to be making overtakes, do we think, this week?
I think there's still opportunities throughout. So I've actually watched another race here last week in the TCRs. And I was actually surprised at how they could make moves and where they were making moves. So there is definitely opportunities throughout the track. Personally, it's not one of my favourites. I've not got much experience here. Yeah, where they're going to be making those moves, not so sure. But believe you me, there will be opportunities out there.
Yeah, absolutely here as well, Zach. I think, to be honest, I prefer the short version than the longer version of this circuit. And I think this is one of them circuits where we can safely sit back and say it's made for Clios. We don't want, long circuits. We don't want 2-minute lap times. They're going around in 1:37, 1:38. Some of the faster guys, the AMs, going around in the early 1:39s. I know Edward was absolutely screaming earlier on because he was so close to a 1:38 that he just couldn't quite find it, but he was leading the AMs on the 1:39. I think the circuits, again, is that choice of circuit, Zach, where they kind of meet the requirements of the Clio.
Yeah, see, I've always really liked the newer Hockenheimring. I know it's very much a hit or miss with a lot of people. I've always really enjoyed not only driving this circuit, but also, watching the racing around it. It's always put on a lot of fun. I wouldn't necessarily be against putting the Clios on the full circuit. I think that long run, obviously, from here, turn 3, all the way to turn number 6 at the Spitzkare hairpin, it would make for some interesting racing, obviously then through the Mercedes arena, then back through the stadium. I think these Clios could handle it, and it would open the door for some good opportunities, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're still lacking any opportunities at all. With the shortened version, you can see it's still a very heavy braking zone as you cut across sort of half the circuit, turning right halfway down the straight. So you're not necessarily losing a lot by taking the shorter circuit, but you're just making it a little bit more of a manageable distance for the Clios as such. So, yeah, I mean, personally, I would have preferred the full Grand Prix loop, but I don't think it's going to matter either way.
No, I don't think it will either. I think there's going to be still some great racing. Mark Draper will be the first man to come over the board. Adam Dalmont, right behind him, is SRL Next Gen Gold teammate, putting purples up at the moment. That we should start seeing times come through here as well. If you are here, welcome in. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to say hi as well. You've got 3 individuals up here in the booth as well who will happily respond to YouTube chat as we are going on into the first opening laps of quali. Mark Draper purple in the final. Adam Dalmont green. It's going to be very close. It is Mark Draper there in the 1:38.669. Then Newman and Dalmont go faster than that as well here, Craig. I think it's going to be an interesting battle, as it always is between them two. But it's whoever's going to come out on top. It's going to be the tough one.
Yeah, I mean, we know how tight that these two are in terms of times at any track. It certainly seems tonight that Adam Delmont's got the advantage, a little bit of advantage over Pete Newman. So that's going to be really interesting as we go into the racing tonight to see them two battling as always. And we've got some quick drivers overall on the grid. You've got Carl Hardy, he's hot on their heels. He's really trying to find those extra couple of attempts. I know he's been practicing a fair bit this week. So race is very different to qualifying, so it's certainly going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it definitely will, and I think we're going to be in for some great racing. We're used to seeing them go anywhere and everywhere to make an overtake. Scott, welcome in. Good morning from Australia, lads. Scott, who I watched in the iFormula over the weekend, which must have been some crazy time in the morning. I'm hoping this is a little bit more responsible for Scott to be out of bed here. I think it's about 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, Scott, give or take about that 12-hour difference here as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Much appreciated to you as well for coming in here and enjoying some great racing. Dan Lewis is sitting in the AMS. He hasn't got a time on the board. Neither is Edward Parfitt, Carl Ridley or Eric Manifeld. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys are able to achieve here, Zach. 5 minutes into quali, they haven't got really long to be setting times here for these guys. They've got that, you know, they've got to make sure that they get a lap on the board, get a banker lap in, if nothing else.
Right, yeah, and what that allows them to do is just alleviate the pressure of the rest of the session. Of course, it's a relatively easy circuit to invalidate at, get those 1Xs, and also just an easy circuit to make mistakes at as well. So just get a lap on, you know, at least then you've got something to work with. You don't have to immediately come out of the gates with a very, very quick time that puts you on pole position. Get one that puts you 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever it might be in your respective class, and then work from there, because at least then you've got something to look at the delta with. And then as the session progresses, as you get closer to that final lap time, you're not as stressed, because we've been there, we've been in a qualifying session, we're pushing really hard, we've messed up every single lap up until that final one, and then we're there shaking, thinking, hang on, one more mistake and I'm going to start towards the back of this field. And that's not what I want at all. So just to calm the nerves more than anything, get a lap down and then work with it. It doesn't have to be the quickest lap time in the session, just something.
Something, yeah. I agree. I think it's more important to get something on the board than have absolutely nothing. And the likes of Edward at the moment hasn't got anything. Luke Maxwell, either Chris Dixon, Carl Ridley. At the moment, though, Luke Maxwell's not out on track. I'm not sure if he's not out on the session or he's just not, I don't know where he is. Maybe he's just not doing a lap here at the moment. But we'll have to keep an eye out and see if he does end up coming back in once more and seeing how we get on what plans to be, I think. Some epic racing here, Craig, and we've seen before with the Clios, they can literally race anywhere, do anything, and make overtakes completely out of the blue. Are we expecting that again in some of the faster corners? You know, like turn 1, for instance, is a quick corner. Are we expecting them to make dives in turn 1, for instance?
Absolutely. I'll be really disappointed, to be honest with you, if that's not the case. As you know, we know these cars, you can race them hard, you can race them, you can use them against each other in corners in terms of leaning on cars a little bit. So yeah, I expect we'll see some moves in fairly unusual places and places where perhaps you might not expect them to be making moves tonight. And it's the Clios, you just generally don't know what's going to happen. You know, we either have some really good clean fun racing or we have a lock up into turn 1 and it causes absolute carnage. But yeah, we haven't got long until we're going to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott has said it's 7 a.m. here as well. And also said, he's kind of put it out there, Zach, earlier on, I think. He said, if you make a move in turn 1, you're mad. What do you think?
I think maybe he's just jealous he's never done it, maybe. But no,
You know he's Australian, right? They don't forgive and forget here, mate. You're working with a different category in Scott than you are with me and Craig here.
Well, yeah, but I love the Aussies, it's fine.
Sucker.
Well, no, it's true. Like, they're awesome people. Like, I've never had any problems with Australian people. Well, for the most part, actually. But yeah, I love them. I envy the fact that they can spend all their time upside down and not get a head rush. It's remarkable. But in regards, obviously, to turn number 1.
Don't you start, Zach. Please don't start.
when you're done. In regards to turn number 1, of course it's going to be difficult, but in these Clios more than anything, actually, it should be one of the easier classes to get one done. You know, it's more of a corner for them. It's still quite a relatively tight radius one. I mean, looking at it, it's probably, about 100 degrees maybe at the apex, which isn't a lot, and yet still is a very high-speed corner. So yeah, I can see it because obviously the sausage curb, it's not too wide on the exit. It's easy to run wide, easy for things to go wrong. But also, if the opportunity's there, then it's fair game, surely.
Yeah, I would have thought the same, to be honest. I would have just, you know, if you're going to have the opportunity, that person on the outside, it's not like he hasn't got a long enough runoff to deal with. Do you know what I mean? He's got quite a long runoff outside of turn one. So he should be able to, you know, yeah, you're going to get an off track and you're going to unfortunately take an off track, but at least you're still going to both survive. It's when you start trying to push and niggle each other and start getting your elbows out, and that's when it's going to be the problem. Is Delmont going to get this lap over the board? He's got about 3 seconds here to get across the line. Oh, he goes over on 138, 155. Edward's going to be disappointed with himself here as well. He was close to a 139 in practice, and now, unfortunately, he's sitting down the back end of the grid in 8th. Here is the grid for race 1. Adam Dalmont will be on pole with Carl Hardy. Great run from Carl in 2nd, with Pete Newman in 3rd and Mark Draper in 4th. Eric Maneveld in 5th, Roger Morton 6th. Carl Ridley is in 7th, with Jason Morris and Dan Lewis leading the AM fight in 8th and 9th. David Ayres in 10th. Carl Jacklett 11th, John Bailiff in 12th. Wayne Palmer in 13th, with Paul Godden 14th, Charles Kellerman 15th. Jack Andrews 16th, Andy Littler 17th, and Edward Parfitt down in 18th. I know he's going to be kicking himself. Chris Dixon in 19th, Sir Alan Toon in 20th, and Luke Maxwell, who is on the grid, but he's all the way down in 21st place. That's going to be a mission and a half for Mr. Maxwell there, Zach, I think, to try and make his move through the field.
Yeah, of course, he's a very quick driver. He'll be able to work his way through quite nicely, but these Clios are still a bedding in process for him. We'll find out how he gets on over the course of the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, here we go. The lights are going to be coming on very, very shortly. They have gone, and we are green, 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 and it's Adam Dalmont getting away. Carl Hardy's moved over to cover off Pete Newman. Mark Draper is alongside Eric Maneveld here as well. What's going to happen farther back? Maneveld does get the move over Draper. Roger Bourne and Carl Ridley in the mix there. Jason Morris and Dan Lewis. The two AMs fighting out as they come down into turn 6 for the first time here. The two results clothing iRacing boys are side by side. Newman's gone through. Morris has overtaken at one point Dan Lewis, and Dan Lewis looks like he may have just got him back as well. For Luke Maxwell, he's starting to move up. He's up 2 places already. Edwards trying to move through the field as well. He's going to be kicking himself after his qualifying here though, Zach, but a great start from Adam Dalmont. He's just got to keep it on track.
See obviously how he gets on and bridging that gap as best he can. I think that is going to be the main thing in these early stages, get away. But Newman and Hardy breathing down his neck, of course, the two teammates that work so well together, that chemistry that they've got between them so strong. Dalmont needs to use that raw pace that he's got in the opening stages of this race, while he is obviously still fresh and still motivated and obviously not succumbing to that late race fatigue that obviously we sometimes see him get, especially in race 1. Get away, get ahead of the game and run away with things. Daniel Lewis having a little bit of an issue. I think also Draper ran a little bit wide. It's going to force, of course, I believe Jacklett to go the long way around for 9th into the Sachs curve for the first time, and a little bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, Luke Maxwell going around the outside. Not only did he go around the outside of Edward, he's also just gone around the outside of Andy Littler in one corner, which is turn 11, and he has just gone and absolutely flown here. Andy and Edward are running side by side. Andy's off the side of the circuit. That's going to give Edward 1 place up here as well. David Ayres is in the mix. He's got John Bailey for Dan Lewis around him here battling out. What's going to happen between these guys with Wayne Palmer and Paul Godden, the two sim stickers boys, trying to work together. Bailiff's got to slow down there. That's why he's gone onto the brakes, and unfortunately he's trying to stop this car. Paul Godden on that, it's sitting there in 13th at the moment, with Wayne Palmer just in front of him and David Ayres just in front of that one as well. Mark Draper and Eric Maneveld going at it here. It's Carl Ridley battling away as they go running down into turn 6.
Yeah, typical good Clio start. Lap 2 still hasn't settled down yet. The prize that we didn't see actually too much issues on turn 1. It could be quite tricky at this track. I know we spotted a slowdown happening at the beginning of this lap, but yeah, it could be quite a tricky one, that one. So yes, so far so good. It looks like we're in for a really good race.
Yeah, we definitely are. It looks like Dan Lewis may not be, though. He looks like he's had a bit of a moment. He may have just recovered. We've got Luke Maxwell cutting through the field like an absolute hot knife through butter. He's up 8 places. He's going after Wayne Palmer and Paul Godden. I'm sure this is the free. Oh, Luke. Oh, big old correction there, Zach, from Luke Maxwell.
Yeah, but thankfully he's still pointing the right way and has got a healthy dose of cars ahead of him in order to, of course, motivate him. All he's going to be seeing ahead of him is points and places to be gained into the final couple of corners, through the Stuttgart, of course, this final right-hander before you head yourself onto the pit straight. Fastest lap of the race between both Newman and Hardy. Hardy, of course, going 2 steps quicker, squeezing the gap, though. Here's Luke Maxwell trying to go to the outside of turn number 1. The inside is hard enough, let alone to the outside. Calamity in the background as well.
What has gone on? It looks like Edward and Andy Littler have had a coming together with Sir Alan Toon. We'll have a look back at that very, very shortly. Let's see if Maxwell can get this job done. It looks like he's got past Palmer here as well. And now he's going after Paul Godden. Please don't tell me you crashed on a straight. That would be just the worst thing ever. Edward's running outside. Andy comes over. Whoa. Explain that one, Mr. Jones.
It looks there was definitely a movement left there from Andy Littler. I'm not quite sure why. Let's have another look at it. So he's got the inside line here, so he must know he's on his left at this side. And about this point, you're going to see left hand down, or what appears. We did see cars running off wide there on the previous lap, so I think that might be a case of just running out of track. And obviously Edward was trying to get back on track to avoid the grass, so maybe a racing incident. Hard to call on that one.
Yeah, I'm
Racing
sure.
incident?
Come on,
Racing incident?
What do you think?
He's off the track. He's got absolutely no right to come back on. It's completely his fault. I'm sorry. That is in no way a racing incident. I mean, obviously in the spirit of maybe being nice, he could have given him some room. But in terms of the rules, there's no reason.
All right.
He didn't warrant room whatsoever.
All right, hold on. So that's just happened, mind you, as well, right? I want to go up to this one here. Now, look at the difference, right? Paul Godden's off the side of the circuit. He's coming back on. Maxwell goes to the right and gives him racing room.
Yeah, that's what they can do, and that's sort of a different point entirely in the sense that there are 3 ways an incident can go. Either you avoid the incident entirely, you're in the incident and you're in the right, or you're in the incident and you're in the wrong. It's better to avoid the incident entirely, but at the end of the day, Edward Parfitt is the one that's in the incident and he's the one that's in the wrong.
But was he really off track though, Zach?
What do you mean? He's turned into a lawnmower. You might as well put a blade under that Clio.
He wasn't on the grass.
Lawnmower. He wasn't on the grass. He was on the AstroTurf and the curb. Look, he's on the AstroTurf and the curb.
4 wheels off the edge of that white line there. He'd have got a 1x for that, and then obviously a 2x for losing control and a 4x for smacking into the side of his rival. I'm gonna die on this hill. I'm sorry, Edward Parfitt, mate. I love you, but.
Oh, I don't know. Let us know in YouTube chat. El Nasir is in here as well. Guy left him enough space. He still went off track, so he should have lifted to not overtake off track limits. What do we think?
Boom. Thank you. YouTube chat. That's what it is. It's just the way it is.
Craig?
I personally, I think that he could have given some room for him to come on as more of a gentleman agreement.
No, I get that.
But whether Andy Littler could actually was it Andy Littler? Sorry,
yeah, it was Littler. Yeah.
Whether he could actually do that on that corner, like I said, it looked like he was running out of track fairly quickly. Is another matter.
Right, okay, well, we'll go on board with Roger Morton. He's just about to go up the inside of Carl Ridley as we're on the roof of that results clothing iRacing team machine. Now we're going to get that run down the Parabolica here as well. Is Morton going to be able to make it through before he gets to turn 6? I don't think he's going to be close enough. You haven't got a long run there. As big puff of smoke from a couple of people up in front. That could be Pete Newman. Morton's now going to go on the brakes. Is he going to make it late round turn 6? He's not. double right-hander of turn 7, and Morton just has to settle in once more. I'm sure there's going to be more and more confrontation and conversation about that one. Bailiff and Morris now. Bailiff just trying to make his way back through the field here. So, yeah, John Brown, what do we reckon? Yellow car also didn't hold their brakes later, I think. He backed onto the track after the accident and hit the car. John Brown, he doesn't have to give him room though. It's up to the person off track to re-enter safely. Craig, you seem to be losing the battle to the YouTube chat.
The other way you could look at it is that Zach was, sorry Zach, I'm putting you in the race now, Zach. Is Edward was actually alongside of him before the corner started, so was there ever going to be enough room for him to not go on to the edge of the track?
Well, have a look and see. Yeah, as well, to be fair,
Well, no, he's
Edward,
not alongside
he
there.
is now. He was.
Well, yeah, but he's just accelerated himself off track. He wasn't going to stay alongside. He wouldn't have stayed alongside if he was taking that corner at an appropriate speed to make it. He basically relied on the fact that, yeah, I'll floor it and just take a different corner entirely, and yeah, I'll be alongside. Anyone can do that.
In YouTube chat says you owe him $5 for agreeing with you, Zach.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll slide him that, obviously.
All right. Well, there you go.
£4.50.
Carl Jacklett and Eric Manifield are battling it out here with David Ayres and Luke Maxwell. Maxwell's up 12 places and it's managed to get back through the field. A great job from the Team Radlow man with David Ayres in front of him as well. Maxwell's going to have the inside going down into turn 6. So is Carl Jacklett and Eric Manifield. Jacklett goes up the inside. He runs him up. He does. Maxwell seems to have got this Clio hooked up here as well. Is he going to be able to get 2 for 1 once more? Or is he going to go around the outside coming into turn 8 of Mercedes? What's Maxwell going to do? He's going to try that outside line. He's going to have the inside for turn 9. Over he goes. He lifts slight lift here as well. Luke Maxwell is driving like a bat out of hell here, Craig, and he's made up 14 places in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's an absolute fantastic drive from him. I seem to remember it being a similar picture last week, you know, pretty poor qualifying and really strong in the race. But yeah, he's on an absolute charge at the moment. Before we started, we were kind of considering where he could get from coming from the back of the grid. You know, I think first place is a bit of a long shot, but I still feel we're going to see some places gained from him.
Yeah, Manifield going into the pits for some random reason here. I'm wondering if he's hit the X limit of 17 already and he's got his drive through. Dan Lewis is leading the AMs with Paul Goddard, Wayne Palmer and Charles Kellerman. Them 4 AMs going to be hopefully within a battle, but it is Dan Lewis, Paul Goddard and Wayne Palmer at the moment scrapping it out. Going down the start finish straight here, coming down from Nordkurve down into Einfrat Parabolica, turn 2 before they go left for 3. Still battling away, Dan Lewis, Wayne Palmer and also Paul Goddard from the Simstickers team. Dan Lewis from the JPB Racing carrying that team here in race 1, as we saw what happened to Edward earlier on. That caused a mass debate up here in the booth. I'm sitting on the fence, he's my boy, I'm not going to get myself involved in that one, Zach.
Yeah, well, I think you're...
Oh, JB Deju, though, has come out in YouTube chat, Zach. Don't think he was off track. You can kick up some dirt there, and it's not a 1X.
Well, it all depends as to where you decide the track limits to be. I think the general consensus is the white line is, oh my goodness me, nearly getting his nose chopped off there is Jason Morris by Bailiff. Of course, the fight for 13th. But at the end of the day, he was off the circuit. And I don't really think you can dispute that as such. The white line is there. That is the edge of the track. And he was basically, at the end of it, essentially on the grass, one wheel on the grass. And also, he just floored it around the outside in order to get that move done. I don't really see a scenario where Edward Parfitt doesn't take the majority share of the blame there. It's just, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I'm not saying he did it on purpose or anything like that. I'm not saying he's a malicious driver or a bad driver by any means. I just have to call the incident as it was, and unfortunately, that's how I call it. He floored it around the outside and was off the road.
Okay, well, your answer to your question, Al Nasir, as well, is the red is pros and the yellows are AMs, dear sir. That is why the colour difference on the numbers. That's why Pete Newman is in red on the timing tower on the left and on the driver details in the bottom right. And the like of Jack Andrews, who's battling away with Jason Morris, is in yellow. So they do react with the classes. And obviously yellow AMs, red pros. Jack there making his way up past Jason Morris, who's sitting in 5th place at the moment. Morris has also not had a good race here, Craig. He's down 7 places at the moment. Obviously had a good qualifying. He was up in 8th, I believe, and now down into 15th. Is it one of them scenarios where nerves at the beginning of the race has just got him a little bit?
Yeah, quite possibly. We know he's got some experience in the Clios, but maybe not as experienced as as some of the other drivers out there. And we do know it takes a little bit of time for these cars to learn where you can get the most out of them and where you kind of need to give them a bit more mechanical sympathy, let's say. So yeah, he's obviously got the pace because he managed to qualify so well in the AM positions. I think he's just got to settle down. Learn how to use the car more effectively, and I think we'll see some good things from him to come.
Well, let's see here as well. And now the answer to your question, Zach, there is a poll up in YouTube chat. Who is to blame? Edward on the outside or Andy? Could he have given him more room? Let me know. And as well, and we'll close that before the end of the race. So you've got about 7 minutes to have a vote here as well. Jason Morris still trying to come back onto the back end of Jack Andrews. Andrews is chasing Bailiff. It doesn't look like Bailiff has enjoyed this track as much as he has enjoyed others there. Mark Draper is all the way down the back end of the field all of a sudden as well. That's in 10th place. What did you do on lap 3? Was this all in this battle here as well? As Manifold on the outside, Morton on behind. Whoa. Well, them four all coming together there, Zach. Not an ideal scenario for them.
I don't think so. I mean, I can think of a couple of ideal scenarios, and that definitely isn't one of them. Side by side here, Jack Andrews on the outside, small bit of tire smoke being kicked up very wide on the exit.
That's Andy
for
Littler,
someone that is, yeah, assumed as such. You can see side by side into the Mercedes Arena section. John Bailiff able to stay ahead. Jack Andrews driving a fairly nice race at this point. Obviously, the pace definitely there. Maybe struggling a little bit to find a way past the 22 machine ahead of him into the Mobile 1 curve. He's having a bit of a look. That's definitely a brave one to go for, but decides to stay behind for now. An enthralling battle, in fairness, and one that we've seen echoed throughout the entirety of the field. But Jack Andrews trying to demonstrate his talent, and let's see if he's able to get this move done in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah, he is. He's got Jason Morris pushing up behind him as well. Morris had a great qualifying and has not had such a good race. I'm just fearful here for John Bailiff because, to be honest, Jack Andrews looks like he's got the pace over Bailiff here once more. Bailiff's best time is a 1:39.78. Bailiff's Andrews is a 1:39.77. Andrews last time around just done a 1:41.8 and Bailiff on a 1:44.4. So Andrews is definitely quicker here, Craig. Do we think that Andrews has the right to go and get past him if he need be?
Absolutely. I think you'd be crazy not to, in particular, I suppose at the moment it's fairly low risk because there's no one else in front. But yeah, I know Jack Andrews has been doing a lot of practice, so he deserves to be in the fight here.
Definitely does. There's a battle materialising up front as well. They're about 3 tenths apart at the moment as we go around turn 6 into turn 7. There was a blink of Mark Draper in the background there, Zach. That doesn't always, as we know, make it so easy for the cars around him here. So Mark there, it looks like he might have just settled down a little bit. He's battling away with Jason Morris. Pete Newman, though, closing in on Adam Delmont here, Zach, as well. It's the normal 2, I think. That's the thing, isn't it? We had the likes of Luke Maxwell who could have been up there challenging him. Didn't get out on quali. Maybe he had a disconnect. Maybe he had some issues. And unfortunately now, but he has gained 14 places. So I'm expecting Luke in race 2 to be absolutely on a stormer. Carl Hardy's 3.6 seconds back. Can anyone really get near these two?
I don't think so. Not at the moment, anyway. I think people definitely have the potential to, but over the course of the season, absolutely not. The odd race, maybe. But when they're in their element, when everything's going well for them, when they're out in front, consistently putting in good laps, Adam Delmont, Pete Newman are just unstoppable. They are just two people in their own world that are fighting for the top spaces in this championship and are continuing to do that, obviously, over the course of last season. So both of them very strong, as is this battle still. Mark Draper versus John Bailiff, of course, Jack Andrews and Morris just in behind as well. This is the fight for 13th place. Draper now ahead of Bailiff, essentially just showing Andrews how it's done.
Yeah, it definitely is that. Bailiff is gone through. And Andrews has now got to try and fight again once more, but Draper just making his way through as well. We passed Jason Morris, he passed Jack Andrews, and he passed John Bailiff all in one go there. So a great job from him on that one. And Mark Draper now can get on his bike a little bit. For Jason Morris, he's got to try and get on his bike to the back end of Jack Andrews to really be challenging him here as well. But we'll have to see how this one all pans out and see whether or not these guys can make it through. I think overall it's going to be very, very exciting, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know if these guys are going to be able to... Is Jason Craig going to be able to get past Jack Andrews here?
No. Ultimately, I don't think so. I think it's nice to see him in the fight, but yeah, I think that's got, like I said, I know he's been practicing. I know he's been out on track and he's getting a lot of advice from the result guys and stuff like that. So yeah, I think at the moment we've got two drivers that are just finding their feet with this car. So I think this is probably the way that this race is going to end for them.
All right, well, we'll see how they get on and whether or not that's going to be completely true here. It looks like the gap opening up out in front a little bit more as well. Zach, some sort of gaps appearing. Really, Dan Lewis is probably one of the closest drivers here as well. Are we saying that this circuit is lending itself to that situation, Zach, where we end up with the cars spread out like they are now?
Not necessarily, because obviously it's got all the ingredients for packs to stay close. We're seeing plenty of close racing. Of course, I think we are just about going to get one extra lap in this race. Of course, with just 23 seconds left on the clock. But all in all, there he is, Adam Delmont, Pete Newman, of course, one final lap. That's going to be, of course, the delight of Newman to the despair of Delmont, who now have to negotiate one extra lap of the Hockenheimring to come out on top. But I don't know, I think it's more just the battles that have been going on, slowing people down. I don't necessarily think the track itself has a part to play in the fact that it's so easy for things to spread. The fact that it's so good for overtaking, maybe, because people are more encouraged to go for moves and therefore they spread out. But honestly, you can't really blame the track for people battling too hard and therefore spreading themselves out.
But yeah, I know we do that sometimes at Catalonia and things like that, where the track, realistically, I think as well, bringing Craig into this, the track at Catalonia can be quite meh. You know what I mean? And we've seen some of the racing be a little bit icky and quite boring, and there's a couple of others that are doing it the same way. I think for now, though, what we've got here in race one, Craig, I think is going to lend itself to a great race two.
Absolutely. I mean, any race one typically after qualifying is obviously everyone's going to be kind of racing where they should be in regards to pace. Obviously, there's a few drivers that will get a place where they've had bad qualifications or they've done too many off tracks, etc., stuff like that. But yeah, it's race two where we're really going to see some of this talent coming through the field, having to make up those places. So yeah, bring it on. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
well, here we go now. Adam Delmont is going to come over the line. He's going to take the win for race one, I believe. I don't think Newman's going to get near him, but however, Newman is going to come over the line very, very close to Delmont. He's going to be tucked up right behind him there as well. Great win for Adam Delmont in the AMS. It looks like Lewis is going to get the victory here as well. He's got 4 seconds to Paul Godden, who's going to be coming in very close to Wayne Palmer. It's going to be interesting to see if Palmer makes a move or if he allows Godden to take it. I think he might have allowed Godden to take it. Hardy comes over the line in third for the pros, but that was a great little battle there as well. What about Andrews? He's trying to go up the inside of John Bailiff. They're going to... Please don't fight on the final corner and cost both of yourselves there. Oh, does Oh, there you go. Does bailiff need room? Well, let us know in YouTube chat there as well, because it's exactly the same scenario that we've just had.
I think we need to take another look at it. Oh, beautiful. Well, yeah, no. Just what? No.
No to who?
Jack Andrews. Why? Why? In any scenario, do you think that's a good idea?
Because he wanted the position, clearly.
Right. I want money. I'm not going to go rob a bank.
Why not? You might make it. Good job to you. I don't know.
It's only illegal if I get caught. I get, but we've just seen that. That's daylight robbery.
Is it though? Is it? Craig, what do you think?
What do you mean? How can you dispute that?
I'm just saying.
Why do you think you've never won a simi?
Neither of you.
Look.
I don't know what you're even talking about. What you're saying? I've been daylight robbed. Then is that where you're going?
No, and we don't need a TikTok to prove it. No.
Back up, Zach. Quick, Esther, we need a shovel up here in the booth for Sweeney here.
What do you mean, me?
You're the one who said it. Daylight robbery. That's what you said. And then you put on there, that's the reason you ain't won a simi. Is that because I've been daylight robbed, Zach Sweeney?
No, just the fact that you call those incidents so wrong.
He's like, right, here are the results from race 1. With Adam Delmont, your winner in the pros, and Pete Newman in second, Carl Hardy in third. That's the 1, 2, 3. Roger Morton in fourth, Carl Ridley fifth, Carl Jacklett in sixth, and Luke Maxwell in seventh, David Ayres in eighth. Dan Lewis in ninth and Paul Godden in 10th. That's the 1 and 2s in the AMs, with Wayne Palmer in third there. Charles Kellerman in 12th, Jack Andrews and John Bailiff. We see just what happened to them. Mark Draper, Jason Morris, Chris Dixon and Eric Manifeld round out the top 18. On from that, you've got Andy Littler, Edward Parfitt, Ollie Ricks and Silent Toon there as well. So... Oh dear, it was a racing incident, says Phil there. So even more than the first one, says Al. You definitely owe Al a lot of money here. That's $10, Zach. He's agreed with you on both. Obviously, both a racing incident, says Scruffy, you will believe it is Stu Rice. And both were exactly the same. James said it himself. Yes, they were.
Yeah, exactly. Stuart has just agreed, which he usually does as well. Actually, when it comes to my insights in regards to racing, Stuart's a very intellectual person, and that makes me feel good about myself that he agrees with me. So there we go. That's my accomplishment done for the day.
I suppose somebody has to agree with you.
I've never actually shared the truth with Stuart, and I think I'd lose a lot less brain cells with him than I do you two.
Ooh. Sweeney, behave yourself, young sir.
Just saying.
I tell you what, you want to just back up a little bit here, matey boy. You know what I mean? Craig,
why?
come into the booth and save me, dear sir.
Sorry, I'm just dealing with an ad issue.
An issue? What is that?
Sorry, an admin issue in the Discord. So I wasn't listening, but I assume Zach's been naughty as always.
Oh, yes he has. Hold on.
Making the wrong calls.
Well, there's no surprise there, really, is it? As we're trying to contend. Whoa. Oh, okay. Right. Oh, dearie me. Well, I'm sure you will deal with that one, Craig, in the background while it's all kicking off there.
Is there space on the naughty step?
I've got... The problem is, though...
Do you want me to move over?
The problem is you start putting that out there and over... It kicks off, doesn't it? It's gonna...
It's a match near a flame.
It's gonna happen here, I think. Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a brief moment here, guys, to contend with something. And we'll be back very, very shortly. Give us a minute here as well. Guys, we are back for race 2. Paul Collin is on pole position with Dan Lewis in second, and then David Ayres in third with Luke Maxwell fourth, Carl Jacklett fifth, Carl Ridley sixth, Roger Morton seventh, Carl Hardy eighth, and Pete Newman in ninth with Adam Dalmont 10th. That is your winners from last time out. Wayne Palmer in 11th, Charles Callum in 12th, Jack Andrews 13th, John Bailiff 14th, Mark Draper 15th, Jason Morris 16th, Chris Dixon 17th, and Eric Manavell down in 18th. Then you got Andy Littler and Edward Parfitt 19th and 20th with Ollie Ricks and Sir Alan Toon right next to them there as well in 21st and 22nd place. We are up and running, and it's green, green, green. Andrews has got an absolute barnstormer somehow. Up 12 places there, Zach. I think there might have been an issue.
I was going to say that was a bit of a launch.
I think so. And now we're going 3 wide down into turn 6 and 7. We'll have a look back at the start with Jack Andrews in a minute and see how he ended up there. But Carl Ridley takes it a little bit wide there with Eric Menefield as well. And Edward and Andy Littler are once again side by side with Ollie Ricks here as well. So we'll keep an eye on this one as this one pans out and see how it plays out. Going down into turn 6 here at the moment. And there's been some interesting battles materialising once more. Pete Newman also getting in the mix as well. He's up 3 places, start making his way through on turn 7. I've got to have a look at that start. I want to see how Jack ended up right where he did there as well, because that was just some... But, oh! Okay.
Don't mind me, just gonna...
Yeah, just gonna toodle off down the side of the grid. That's what oh no!
Oh, there's more. There's more. Oh, that's a car upside down as well.
Roger Morton's on his roof.
Wow. Is that
How did he end up there? Okay, so them two...
Did Scott join this race?
Carl Hardy, boom, boom. That's how Morton ended up on his roof here.
Oof.
Edwards trying to weave his way through, I think. He just about makes it through. But that's David Ayres, Roger Morton, Carl Hardy and Andy Littler into the pits. Carl Jacklett is also into the pits, and Edward Parfitt's also into the pits. So there's a lot of people in the pits at the moment. Some have managed to get back out and on their way. Luke Maxwell just about coming out and, believe it or not, trying to take the lead here over Paul Godden. Maxwell up 3 places. But that involved Roger Morton, Carl Hardy, David Ayres as well, with Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toon involved in that one there, Zach. That looked quite a big one at the beginning.
I don't think quite big one really does it so much justice. But yeah, it was quite a big one, I suppose. Yeah, in well, every capacity, really. Yeah, I don't really have much to add to that. You just have to watch it and... is it awe-inspiring? I don't really know how you can take it. I think you have to be quite a sadist to enjoy watching that. And, well, I must be one, because in some ways it was quite artistic to watch all those cars just completely destroy each other going into the Mobile 1 curve. But obviously not the way that you want to start a race as such, and the carnage and chaos that can ensue thanks to a opening lap crash. Going back to last race, and of course the point in regards to field spread, I think incidents are a bit of a part of that as well.
I believe so. Charles Callum and Chris Dixon going side by side. Callum is trying to run around the outside of turn 11 here. I think this could be materialising into quite an interesting one as these guys are battling it out once more. So Charles Callum and Chris Dixon, and Chris, of course, finding his feet within the lead this season, with Dan Lewis is trying to battle it away with Carl Ridley and John Bailiff. These are pros that he's fighting with here as well. Somebody's coming out the side of the pits. I think that could be Andy Littler. It is Andy Littler once more, and Kellerman and Manifield still going at it. Some great racing happening here once more as well, and battles all the way through the field as there normally is there, Craig. How you doing there, Craig? Are we all good?
Yeah, I'm back. I think I've dealt with it for now. Yeah, just glanced up there at the right time and saw that massive incident that I sadly missed live. So yeah, that's an interesting one, that one.
Yeah, I think I've just seen David Ayres go at it once more as well. David, unfortunately, coming into turn 6. What did he do? He just did not get the car stopped. Ooh, and then decides enough is enough on this one here as well. We can have a look back at that chaotic start, but again, the incidents seem to be not far off the same kind of scenario. You know, he's on the outside. Does he have a right to come back on? And then this. Look at this.
I mean,
what's the difference? Does somebody tell me what is the difference? Does he have a right to come back on, Zach? He's off track.
Let's look. So obviously through this right-hander, he's there.
He's off the track.
He's there.
Ball
He's
wheels
pushed.
off.
He's wide. Obviously, then off the track. Then tries to bring it back on. Now the argument there is: was he pushed off the track, or did he go off the track himself? If the answer to the latter obviously is that he went off the track himself, then no, he doesn't deserve to come back on. He should lift off, worst case scenario, stop, and then rejoin when there's a clear space. If he was pushed off, then obviously it's on Roger Morton in order to give him that space and allow him to rejoin, and then obviously it causes the carnage in behind. You have to take the incident itself at face value and punish it in regards and judge it as such from push wide, spin, and not the carnage that ensued afterwards. You can't really, it's not fair necessarily to judge it on the consequence. It's more necessarily the action in of itself. I mean, you'd have to look at it more, obviously, with a lot more angles, which I'm sure that, the stewards will. They get all the replays as such, but yeah, it doesn't look great either way.
Okay. Did anybody else think he got sat on the fence there?
No, because again, I need to see it again in order to probably make a good decision.
Just say, James, can you show me it again?
Sweet.
Right.
No, that's fine. So on the left, he's wide, he's ahead, but Morton obviously with the shorter run on the inside takes the apex. He's now ahead. Oh right, no, okay. So Morton's on the outside. Whoever's on the right takes the apex, drives outwards. And is taking the race line. And now the argument is going to be, if we ride on board with Morton, I think we'll actually get a better picture, obviously, of how far alongside he is going through that corner. Because if he's not at least halfway across, it's on him to back out. If he's more than halfway across Carl Hardy's car, then he deserves space.
Nah, that's wrong.
But it looks to me as though at first glance, it looks like Roger Morton is behind. Carl Hardy takes the shorter line on the inside and quite rightfully takes the corner.
I disagree. I completely disagree. We've got to look at why the car was on the outside to begin with. So was the car on the outside? Absolutely. So if the car is on the outside, he deserves to be given room. And he was not given room. It's exactly the same incident that we're arguing in race one.
It's on him to back out, though. Of course, there's still racing going on out on circuit at the moment. Paul Godden, of course, fighting away with Bailiff into the Mercedes Arena sector. Both of them, of course, running too wide. Of course, have got Lewis and Draper just in behind. Now into this corner. Let's see. Of course, it's going to be the foot around the outside for Paul Godden, and that's how it's done. He was alongside for the majority of the corner, at a decent amount ahead, and then deserved to be given room.
But both incidents in that first race, they were both alongside the same distance as the last one. Craig,
what do you mean the same distance? Your depth perception is dreadful.
But where are they supposed to go, Zach?
Dreadful.
Lift off.
Let me ask the question.
Lift off and wait for a gap. Oh, when you join the dual carriageway, no. When you join the dual carriageway, you do not just pull out in front of a car and expect to be given room, do you?
Yes, because
you wait for a gap.
Right, you need to read the bleating highway code, mate. It's a filter road, so generally the person coming up the lane would either back off and let you out, or you just slow down and come in behind him. But you can't do that on a race circuit, especially if they're going 3 wide like we are at the moment. Let's get back to the racing and we'll carry on this debate during the 5-minute warm-up after this one, because I can tell you what, this is going to rock on all day long. Now we've got 2v2 once more on that run down to the Parabolica. Let me know in YouTube chat. We're 3 wide here as well. Sim stickers either side. Paul Godden, Wayne Palmer, Eric Manifield, I believe, in the middle. If I'm not mistaken, Draper's done a run. He said, no, I'm not having none of that. Godden's got up and decided, well, I am. And he's now going for it here as well. Is Paul Godden over Eric Manifield there as well. As far as I'm concerned, they were all the blinking same incident, and either one of them should have been given room because they were all alongside each other across all 3 incidents. Jack was alongside as well John Bailiff, Edward was alongside Andy Littler, and they should have been given room, and Morton was clearly alongside Carl Harding. So that's my perception of it. Let's bring Craig in because maybe he might agree with me.
I think I've made my position on it very clear. I just can't believe we started comparing motor racing to joining a dual carriageway.
It's the same principle, isn't it? It is. It's the right of way. It's the right of way. It's the same principle.
Yeah, but the same principle with the dual carriageway is what happened to Craig's missus on the way up to me. Joining a dual carriageway on a filter road, she decided to slow down. The guy on the outside was also slowing down to allow her to come in front of him. Then, basically, both of them come to a virtual stop nearly on the dual carriageway because neither of them could make a blinking decision. If the guy on the inside had just gone out to the outside line, Gemma could have come straight on. It didn't happen, and it hasn't happened again.
No, but
we've
if you
seen
read the highway code...
But we've seen it. We've seen it happen with somebody on the outside, Craig, as well, like we had previously in race 1, where they were given room on the outside, like that. There you go. He's given room on the outside from Luke Maxwell. That isn't just smart driving. That is racecraft. Pete Newman as well is also battling away with Luke Maxwell here as well. He gives him room. Maxwell tightens up the curve. It's the same scenario. He did it with Adam Dalmont. He tightened up the curve and allowed Adam Dalmont on the outside. As far as I'm concerned, there needs to be space given. Go on, Zach.
I completely second that.
Zach?
Well, in regards to, once again, in regards to your comment, the driver that's already on the carriageway, the one that has the right of way, i.e. the person on the track, in this particular instance, the driver that's still on the circuit and has the right of way, has no reason to stop. They should continue on. That's the safest way for things to go. They continue on. It's the driver on the slip road or Roger Morton on the outside of the circuit that needs to slow down and give way and then rejoin safely. It's up to him. It's his responsibility to take that decision. If Carl Hardy wants to be nice enough in the spirit of racing to let him on and give him space, then that's entitled to him. But Roger Morton, at the end of the day, I don't think, from the angles that I saw, I didn't see him be a long enough, far enough alongside to warrant being given racing room and therefore be given space on the outside. That's just my opinion.
All right, okay.
It's the right one.
All right, how many times have you come out of a filter road on a dual carriageway and you've sworn on the geezer for coming down the lane the same as you when he quite happily could have pulled over and let you out on the dual carriageway?
I haven't.
Really?
As much as it might be a little bit mean and like, oh, come on, mate, you could have done me a favour there. He doesn't necessarily have to.
So you've never lost, you've never gone, oh, you absolute beep, beep, beep. You could have moved over and let me out 5 minutes ago.
You could have, yeah, but you didn't have to.
All right. Well, as far as
that's what I mean.
There's
the morally right and the legally right.
When you're approaching, when you're coming onto our dual carriageway, guys, if you are on that inside line and somebody's coming on with a filter road, please do yourself a favour and move over, because the inside doesn't have to stop being a filter road there as well. So we didn't have no choice. Wayne Palmer, Jason Morris still going at it. I'm sure this is going to rage on if we see another one like that into race 3 here, where we've got a top 15 reverse at the moment here as well, and that's Ollie Riggs sitting on that position. YouTube chat, you've all have at one point sat there coming onto a dual carriageway and raged at the person coming down the line right next to you because he hasn't pulled over and let you out. And if you leave a comment if you are watching this back and let me know what you think, because me personally, I have raged because he definitely, as far as I'm concerned, should move over there as well. It's just common sense. Pete Newman looks like he's had a bit of a slowdown there. That's allowed Adam Dalmont and Luke Maxwell to get through. Dan Lewis still battling away with Mark Draper as they come running down into turn 2, which will be the right, left, right of turn 2, 3 and 4. Draper looks like he's got this wrapped up here as well. Near enough loses his nose there once more. Still great battling happening here though, Zach. We've got 6 minutes remaining of race 2. I'm sure it's going to be exciting right up to the end.
Well, we can definitely hope that it's exciting racing. Hopefully for race 3 it's going to continue to be the same thing that we've seen. And now Obviously, Delmont and Maxwell have been keeping each other company for pretty much the entirety of the 14 minutes while we've been rambling on absolute nonsense in the complete state of professionalism that we do here on JPB. Of course, Dan Lewis fighting away with Manetveld, trying to keep close with Draper and Bailiff. That's the fight for 5th as well. And what carnage can we... well, we just always get them. Reverse grid races in Clios on a Monday night.
Definitely, and we're still going to get it here as well. Draper and Bailiff scrapping out. Bailiff on the inside. Draper's going to run around the outside there as well and go straight round there as well. LNC is going to send you his PayPal link, by the way, Zach, to send over even more money, as he has just once again agreed
Not
with
our
you.
PayPal. Our PayPal got banned.
Oh! Draper's off! Draper's off! Bailiff and Lewis is going, it's still carrying on here with Manetveld in the mix. Maneveld's looking at going up the inside. He is just about alongside here. So this could be an interesting turn one if Lewis decides to not allow him. Oh, he did there as well. That was very nice of Dan Lewis once more. What happened here with Mark Draper? As you can see him now, coming around turn 11. They go through the Wigglies at 12. Is he alongside? He definitely is. Was there a turn in? There definitely was. Was Draper going to make the apex there, Craig? That's going to be the problem.
I think he was entitled to that corner. I think he was definitely turned on. So again, it's another case of not giving room, but instead of it being on the outside, it was on the inside on this occasion. So yeah, unfortunate incident there.
Well, YouTube chat, scruffy there. Draper moved across a little there. I don't know. I think we're all seeing different things here. Maybe we all need to go to Specsavers tonight. I can tell you that much. As Canada. Oh my God. Oh, Zach Sweeney, what's your opinion on that one?
I'm just going to stay out of this one, honestly. I'm just not going to say anything. It's fine, you pay me for my insight and you don't like when I give it, so I'm just going to shush. No, it's fine.
Oh, we need that mother care back. We need a dummy for Zach Sweeney because he's just thrown it out of the comms booth.
It's fine. Exactly. Can't be wrong if I don't speak. I'm never wrong even if I do speak. I just thought I'd let James and Craig have their moment, of course. They have very little that satisfies them in their lives, so if it gives them a smile, then it's worth it, really, isn't it?
Oh, dearie me. 3 minutes left here as well. We've got Adam Dalman out from Luke Maxwell catching up. Bailiff and Manetveld, they're on Send It and Bend It and Win It and Bin It. They're on the same team and sister team here as well with Dan Lewis. Oh my God, I am physically quiet here as well. Roger Moore is going to be battling out with Jack Andrews after both being involved in an incident, let's just put it that way, before we end up here as well. Craig, some great racing. I don't really know what else to say here this evening.
Yeah, thanks. just leave it for me. So yeah, there is a race going on. You can't remember that. I'm completely lost as well with what's been happening. But you know, we've got this nice three-way battle going on track at the moment. Yeah, hopefully, I'm sure at some point we're gonna see a move with one of the cars going around the outside, and hopefully the car on the inside will leave them enough room so that we don't have a crash. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be here as well, around the final corner with the leaders, Adam Dalman, Luke Maxwell, going at it here as well. As they're going to come over the line, they're going to get one and one more. Barney's not waving this time around here. Zach, you're still here, bud?
Of course I am. Just marveling at the... I don't really know how to put it. Do you know that film where those people travel forwards in time and everyone just like... their IQ is just divided by 10, and then it's all about get them going back in time to that time machine, and it ends up just being a ride, like with dinosaurs and stuff. I don't know. I vaguely remember that movie, and that's exactly what I feel like I'm in right now. Is that I've just spawned into a different world where everyone around me has just got the IQ of a chimpanzee. No, not even a chimpanzee, because that's actually an insult to chimpanzees. The IQ of a walnut, really.
Mr. Sweeney! Hold on, Mr. Sweeney. Back up a little bit here, Priscilla, because let's realise something alongside, right? Let's obviously, you know, me and Craig have both been in racing for a long time between us. We both watched more races than probably you, longer than you've been alive, dear sir. So can our opinions really be discounted as what you're making them out to be?
Hang on. Right, so you've been making pencils for 30 years and you can make a pencil in 5 minutes. I've been making pencils for 2 years and I can make one in 2.5 minutes. Who's the better pencil maker?
But the quality of the pencils I'm making doesn't match I'm better than you.
My pencil's better than yours, mate.
Is it? I've had 5 kids, mate. Do you want to argue that one? As we're going down now, Luke Maxwell. Final lap of the race here, guys, as well. And we're going down into turn 2 there, Craig.
Yeah, let's again bring the conversation back to the racing and not people's pencils and whether it still works or not. So yeah, final lap of this race. We've got Adam Delmont out in front, being chased by look who it is, Luke Maxwell as well. So yeah, fantastic effort from him in race 2. Pete Newman not far behind. Don't think he's got enough in this lap to make any further advances though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Luke Maxwell. Round turn 7, coming out down into Mercedes for the final time. Newman's in the background, battling away. He's trying to close up onto these two. Is Maxwell going to have the pace over Delmont around this little final line from turn 9 through to 15? He's got 6 on the clock here as well, battling it out, going into turn 10 now. Maxwell's tucked up right behind him. He's got to carry some speed going down into turn 11. He isn't going to get it, I don't think, here. I don't think he's going to be able to make this move. Luke Maxwell is not going to get this one. I'm going to write it down now. I think Delmont is going to be the winner. It's going to take a miracle for Maxwell to be able to take this victory once more. Round the turn 14, coming into 15 now. Looks like he's got the run. Is Maxwell going to be able to get through? He's hunting that inside line. He's going to try and get the run down into the line. Is Maxwell going to do it? He isn't. This is going to be Delmont's win. It is going to be Delmont's win there as well. And a great run down to the line there. Luke Maxwell just missing out on that one. And then we got Dan Lewis in the arms taking that victory. There's that great ending to the race in there from them three.
Yeah, it's been a successful race for some, and not so successful race for others. But as far as race 2s go, yeah, not bad. Those 20 minutes actually flew by. In fairness, yeah, race 2 in the books. Let's see what race 3 brings. Of course, well done to Adam Delmont. This is a huge evening for him, and Luke Maxwell, of course, as well, getting on the podium and being within touching distance of the race win, already showcasing some really strong improvements in the Clios, and Pete Newman as well having a fairly all right evening. I mean, he's been on the podium twice, and it's been a bit of a meh evening for him. I hope maybe we could see a bit of a step up for him into race 3. But all in all, Adam Delmont is absolutely smashing this evening.
Yes, Alan comes over the line as well. Roger Morton and Jack Andrews. Al Nasir, we did cover the last lap for you there, bud, as well. We didn't just talk about pencils as Jack Andrews goes off the side of the circuit here as well. 0.2 seconds gap between P1 and P2 throughout the last lap. Meanwhile, we're here debating who makes pencils better. Well, we keep it interesting here on the JPB YouTube channel, if nothing else. And we do, funny enough, enjoy what we do here as Jack Andrews will come on from there and come over the line here once more. So an absolutely stellar race. And let's bring you up the results here from race 2. Right. In the pros, it was Adam Delmont, Luke Maxwell, Pete Newman, your 1, 2, 3 with Carl Ridley, Eric Manafeld and John Bailiff. Behind that, in 7th, 8th and 9th is Dan Lewis taking the win for the AMS with Paul Godden and Wayne Palmer. Mark Draper in 10th. Then you've got Jason Morris and Charles Kellerman with Carl Jacklett in 13th. Chris Dixon 14th. Ollie Ricks 15th. Edward Parfitt 16th. Sir Alan Toon in 17th. And Roger Morton in 18th place. On from there, we've got Jack Andrews, Andy Littler, Carl Hardy and David Ayres, who's rounding out the final place at the moment now as well. The pole man for race 2 will be Ollie Ricks. Will be on pole there, Craig. That's going to be a definite interesting one for Ollie there.
Yeah, I would imagine actually knowing Ollie a little bit, that's probably not where he wanted to be. So I know a lot of the AM drivers, they dread these reverse grids of where they're gonna end up. So yeah, we'll see how he gets on. I do know he was having some computer issues before he started, and he had to do a reinstall and download iRacing and all that kind of stuff. So it's good to see that he managed it on the grid, and he seems to be everything seems to be running in a stable condition. So yeah, we'll see what he can do from pole position.
Absolutely, we'll see what Ollie can do. We've got a couple of minutes of practice of warm-up. Remaining here as well, and I think it's been a very interesting one, Craig. You know, race 1 and race 2, we've had similar incidents together. We're going into race 3. We're hoping we don't see those same incidents, but at the same time, anything can happen.
Literally anything can happen. I mean, I think we've talked to those particular incidents to death in that session there. But yeah, this is the nature of what we do, and particularly at race 2, and what we're about to go into race 3 does bring a level of uncertainty, and it's definitely about survival. So particularly when I'm behind the wheel in these races, of course I'm looking to gain as many positions as I can, and of course I want to move forward, but ultimately for those first 2 laps it's purely about me trying to anticipate what's happening up in front of me, and avoidance, and just trying to survive, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing. Adrian there in YouTube chat here, Craig. So glad to hear you again on the stream, Craig.
Well, I have noticed this, that I seem to have a lot of fans and Zach doesn't.
Hey, Zach's still a wee whipper. Zach's still a young wee whippersnapper there as well. And John Brown is right. Wait till you hit your mid-40s. I can tell you that one. You wake up every day and you've got a new pain that you didn't have the day before. And promise me, you wake up with more than you've even had in your life as you start getting out of bed. Your knees go, your feet go, your ankles go. It's worse when you can't bend down and put your socks on while you're standing up. You have to sit on the bed and lift your leg up to put your socks on because you can't bend down there, Craig. That's what I find.
I've got no problem bending down. I'm fit as a fiddle, me.
Mm-hmm. Of course you are. Whoa. Zach's fans are here too, says John Brown. So maybe John is a Zach fan.
Or maybe it's Zach in disguise.
Or maybe, but El Nasir has obviously got to PayPal Zach for all the money that Zach owes him here as well. So yeah, this could be a very interesting development as we go on throughout, whether or not Zach's going to cough up the dollars here for El Nasir as well, because obviously, Nasir has been quite happily agreeing with pretty much everything Zach has said there. I did notice Phil's comment as well a little bit earlier on. Oxygen for Mr. P. I nearly needed it in that one, I think, Craig. I think laughing was incredibly bad of me.
It's not the first time you've lost it on a stream, though, is it? Let's face it, where you've uncontrollably unable to stop laughing. I seem to recall a certain comment I made in YouTube chat, which you completely missed the first lap of the race.
I did. There we go. I believe Zach Sweeney has joined us once more for race 3. Zach, welcome back, dear sir. How are you?
Flushed, ready to go, and eagerly awaiting race number 3. Of course, all my fans out on the YouTube chat, thanks to John Brown and Co, and the ones that I paid for as well. And yeah, bring it on. Let's see how many disagreements we can cause in race 3.
God, don't stop. I want to get through this one as well. I tell you, if you are new here and you've tuned into the JPB YouTube channel, I promise you, we do call the racing as well, but we just have a little bit of fun while doing it. Al Nasir there as well. I'm surprised you get this many people racing Clios. It barely goes official anymore of the times in official races. Well, yeah, we are quite lucky here as well. Some of these we have built up. We are into our 4th season of this one. Season 1, we had 40. And now we're at a nice number, around about 22 to 25. So there you go. Ollie Ricks will be on pole with Chris Dixon in 2nd, Carl Jacklett 3rd, Charles Kellerman 4th, then Jason Morris in 5th. Mark Draper, Wayne Palmer, Paul Godden, Dan Lewis and John Bailiff round out the top 10. Then you've got Eric Manifield, Carl Ridley, Pete Newman, Luke Maxwell, Adam Dalmon, Edward Parfitt, Sir Alan Toon and Roger Morton here as well. And then behind that, you have got Jack Andrews, Andy Littler, Carl Hardy, and David Ayres. We're going to be up and running very, very shortly. Just waiting for the lights to come on, which does mean that John Bailiff has got to get on the track this time around. That would be absolutely amazing. Now we're going to be going green here. Lights are on, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's green, green, green for the final race of the evening here as well. Ollie Ricks has got off the line with Chris Dixon and Carl Jacklett right behind him there as well. There's moves throughout the field. Mark Draper nestled in with Wayne Palmer and Paul Godden and Dan Lewis here as well. Now we go into the faster pros with Henrik Manifield. We're almost 5 wide in the middle. 5 wide in the middle, and they all survived. Only just. They're going, no, 3, 4 wide into the corner. Round turn 2 they go. They've all survived at the moment. Oh, Dan Lewis nearly going off there as well, Zach. Dicey racing for the first couple of corners.
Yeah, these guys definitely aren't shy. We've got multiple rows of 2 cars into, of course, the heaviest braking zone on the circuit, and a big wide moment. They're not entirely sure. I think it's Bailiff going off. Roger Morton once again having a poor start to a race. Continuing this side-by-side fight, by the way, by multiple cars into the Mercedes Arena section. We've got Wayne Palmer, I should say, on the outside. Adam Delmon trying to pick his way through as well. You can see there in the SRL liveried car through the quick flick to the right, and nicely done around the outside, it must be said, by Maxwell. Delmont now trying to follow him through. The space opens up on the outside. He might well be able to hold that into the Mobile 1 curve. Charles Kellerman wisely backs out of that move on the outside, but he might have a look to the Sachs curve.
Yeah, he might here as well. Charles Kellerman on the outside line at the moment. He's just going to lose a place, I think, to Jason Morris. Morris is going to tuck underneath here with Paul Godden and Eric Manifield once more. Kyle Ridley in the mix with Luke Maxwell. Then we've got Adam Delmont trying to come through the field with John Bailiff here once more. Newman and Hardy. There's been a collision. That's Wayne Palmer and Dan Lewis. Oh, what has happened here as well? And I think there was another one directly after that. Wayne Palmer and Dan Lewis scrapping it out. Oh, well, we can discuss that one for days here as they're all going through. Oh, lots of bumping and grinding once more there as well. And we could decipher that one all day, Zach Sweeney. But where can we point the blame on it on this time?
Well, let's look. In all honesty, well, definitely not Edward Parfitt as he just skates his way through.
Yeah, I got a funny feeling there's something else coming.
Oh, no. I don't really think he's going to have much nice things to say about that one. Backwards, luckily avoids the barrier. And obviously rejoins, but I don't know for how much longer. And then obviously Sir Alan Toon.
I believe he went straight back to the pits. So... Yeah. Oh, Adam Delmont's crashed. Adam Delmont has had a crash. Oh my God, they've all concertina together here. Somebody's going 3 wide. This is not going to end well. Down into, oh my dearie, blimey me here as well. There's some interesting battles I can see going on here as well, Craig, but I think some of them maybe need to settle down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never joined us before for the Clio Cup, this is race 3, and welcome to race 3. This is what happens all the time. We've got these much faster drivers trying to come through the AMs that are generally at the front. And that's why we're seeing this action. A little bit more contact in the back there. I'm not quite sure who that was with. It looks like everyone made it through safely, though. But yeah, it's certainly started a feisty one. Plenty to talk about, and it sounds like Zach's going to have to get his wallet out again.
Definitely here as well. Eric Manivel going side by side with Morris down into turn 2. Manivel does make it through. Adam Delmont, after his incident, initially still up and running and battling away with Paul Godden. Chris Dixon behind and Luke Maxwell in front of him here once more. Ricks is under pressure from Carl Jacklett. Jacklett's no pushover here. He's going to try and make this as tough as possible for Ricks to hold on to this position. And Ricks really needs to. He's off the side. Jacklett gives him room to come back on there, Zach, and they can resume their battle.
Yeah, Jacklin trying to keep his foot around the outside. Nicely done. Now the inside, of course, for the next right-hander. Ollie Ricks just having to tuck back into situ Mark Draper, and of course getting the nice run, takes the racing line, nips his way on the inside, and Ollie Ricks unfortunately losing a couple of places in the span of a couple of corners. Outside line through the Mobile 1 curve, takes a much wider arc through. Of course, Draper too far on the inside to carry any meaningful speed through. A really good move there, it must be said, by Ollie Ricks to consolidate that second place. Now maybe he can launch after Carl Jacklin, but still leading the way in the AMs, and I think obviously the more important thing, getting very dicey into the final sector in terms of these S's. Mark Draper going to look to send one to the inside. Very good move spotted, but once again, Rick's able to keep the agility around the outside.
Yeah, definitely. Maxwell, Dalmont are coming down through. Dalmont did get past Maxwell this time around, so they're still going for it here as well. Dalmont's got the run over John Bailiff coming down into turn one. Are we going to see this first double side by side going around turn one all evening here as well? Neither of them are backing out. That is going to be... Yeet. Blimey, they made it. I think Luke Maxwell may have copped a slow down in all of that one though, because unfortunately he's lost time and lost the position to Paul Godden there. Where is Pete Newman in all of this? He's up the field. He's made his way on his bike. He said, you lot carry on. I'm getting off past this one. And Bailiff and Dalmont not giving up here, Craig. Some great action in race 3.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't made a little bit more headway, so particularly with lots of the kind of little incidents that we're having. You know, Pete Newman and both Pete Newman and Adam Delmont, they both know how to carve their way through a field and carve away particularly through the carnage of it all. So yeah, quite interesting to see that they haven't been able to make that much progress. But massive shout out to Ollie Ricks for holding P1 for such a long time until lap 3 and still holding up in P2. Nice to see him fighting with the pro drivers there.
Absolutely, some great job from Ollie Ricks, managing to hold on to his second place with Mark Draper behind him. Does he need to be fighting him here, Zach, or have we got this classic pro-am move out the way scenario?
I mean, fair play to Ollie Ricks, again, out there having fun, out there wanting to finish as high up in the overall order as possible, and is a driver I know that has got just tremendous amounts of racecraft. Of course, how's that's going to hold up when Mark Draper's got the inside for turn number 1? Going to be very difficult for Ollie Ricks to do his typical move around the outside. He's going to give it a good go anyway, off the side of the road. Rejoins, of course, keeping his foot in, just settling in ahead. Now, of course, Mark Draper could potentially launch a move to the inside of turn number 2. I'm sure he will. Brave on the brakes, of course, into the next apex. And Ollie Ricks tries to hold it around the outside, but he doesn't quite have the speed to do that. But obviously, Ollie Ricks, a member of the Enduro KA Winter Sim Series, and is a big gainer in that in terms of his racecraft, just drives his way through. And those KAs drive very similarly to these Clios in the form of front-wheel drive, low downforce, low power, low torque, low everything, and yet he still puts on a great show for pretty much everyone and everything in terms of his sheer ability to overtake and defend. At the moment, doing his best to hang on to the podium.
Yeah, it definitely is. I do like the fact that he was given room to come back on there from Mark Draper. Draper went all the way. I'm not picking up on you, am I? I'm just saying Draper gave him room to come back on the track. That's all I said. Why do you have a complex about something, Mr. Sweeney? Do we need to worry about you right about now?
Nah.
Are you okay? Because I've got Phil up in Norfolk. I can send Phil over. I'm sure he'll give you a little cuddle if you need one.
I'm alright, thanks.
You're sure?
I'd rather...
But be nice, because Phil's in every broadcast. Be nice. Just say no. That's all you got to say.
I'd rather...
No.
Greg's gift card.
Right, well, I'll get you one over. I think
Sweet.
you've had a bit of a bad night. Message me your address. I'll send you, a free sausage roll off me app. All right? You just need to calm down a little bit. Let's get back to the racing. Mark Draper battling away. He's trying to break away with Carl Ridley. He's got Eric Manifeld, Pete Newman, and Ollie Ricks even, all in the mix here. Too wide, too deep, down into turn 2. Manifeld manages to hold on. Ridley's trying to go around the outside. Ricks is there as well. Dalmont's on the inside. All of them leaving room to the individual on the inside. From the outside there, Manifeld's disappeared, which is not going to make it easy. He's going to send it up the inside of Carl Ridley. I can see the door already. alongside here. He is alongside. Ridley gives him bucket loads of room. Once more, Manifeld tightens up the apex. They're going to be almost door banging. Ridley's got all 4 wheels. Look at the room that Manifeld's given him to get back on though there, Zach. Nice tidy driving from all of these guys.
Yeah, keeping everything nice and clean, of course, into the second half of this race. Well, it will be in about 30 seconds' time. Side by side, just in behind Ridley, Manifold versus Pete Newman, making some great progress in race 3. Of course, he needs a little bit of a resurgence to maximise his points all after this evening, but a nice little move the long way around for Manifold, going to give him the inside for the Sachs curve. Once they reach that again, Newman this time going to have to go the long way round. He's going to keep his foot in again. The camber on the inside, though, benefiting more to Manifold. The 27 gives the space to, of course, the reigning champion. Newman chucks the move back to the inside of the penultimate corner, edges himself ahead. Back to 4th.
That puts off. Whoa! Adam Dalmont on Ollie Ricks. Oh my dearie me. Oh, Ricks is on the brakes. Eesh. Pick that one out. Craig, what do we think?
I think we're at that point in the race, Ollie Rick should just have been looking to save his race in terms of a P1. So, you know, fighting so hard with Adam Delmont has unfortunately cost him in that place there. So, you know, he's still in P2 in the AM, so all to play for. As I say that, he's dropping down the field. So that's a
I think he's allowing Delmont to go through here. And then he'll start.
Could be right.
Yeah, he has, because Delmont has just got cleared him.
If that's the case, then absolutely fair play to him. He realised he was in the wrong. He's given the place back. Yeah, massive respect.
He's actually pulled over here as well. I'm wondering if Ollie Ricks there may have had a little bit of an issue once more. Bailiff going at it here currently. He's got Luke Maxwell tucked up right behind him for company here. Let's see what Luke is going to be able to do, whether or not he's going to be able to start moving his way through the field. There's Bailiff there as well. Maxwell's almost off the edge of the track. He's going to try and go around the outside. We're on the front left of Luke Maxwell's car. Oh, well, we just made that there as well, and some great racing from these guys as they start coming into turn 14 and 15. We've got 9 on the clock. They're side by side going round now. Maxwell's got all 4 wheels off again, room given. Now he's going round the final corner again, 4 wheels off the side of the track. He's coming back on. Oh, Bailiff allowed him room to come back on there as well. Eric Manifield also with the same situation with Mark Draper. Draper slots in once behind him as well. And then Bailiff coming back at Maxwell as well. Great racing going on here, Zach, for race 3.
Yeah, great respect between everyone. Of course, John Bailiff now trying to put some pressure, under pressure I should say, and now of course Charles Kellerman picks his way through as well. There's Paul Godden trying to make the most of it and use the momentum the long way round. Of course everyone just now trying to swamp him really. The 22 machine really in a pickle. Very easy to get overwhelmed, but Maxwell making the most of it, edging himself ahead once again. More places gained in this race, +7. Of course, second only to Carl Ridley and Pete Newman, side by side into the braking zone. Bailiff sends it, of course, on the 67 to Kellerman. Paul Gordon and Adam Dalmont now rejoining this fight. Dalmont just going to try and pick his way through the carnage and get as many points as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Dalmont going to come through. He's got Paul Godden on the inside of him here as well. Godden takes the apex. Dalmont's going to be trying to run now on that outside line. Godden comes over, takes his nose off. Not this time here as well. Is Dalmont going to look at the inside? He is, and he's on the brakes, just allowing Godden to take his line through round turn 10. Now they're coming into 11. Is he going to make that move on the inside? Godden's giving him the room. He's giving him the door. He's giving him daylight there, Craig, and said, go on, son. Away through you go.
Yeah, sensible move, I think. As we know with Gordon, he drives with his head. So yeah, I think that was the right thing to do in that situation.
Yeah, he definitely did. He don't want to battle away, but he doesn't have to. Pete Newman and Carl Ridley here side by side. First, Newman gets through. Ridley's going to get that run out of that first corner, though. Is he going to be looking at going up the inside here again? Surely he's got to go. Surely Zaki should have made that move. He had the overspeed like an absolute trooper.
Yeah, you'd think. But of course, sometimes easier said than done. But with still 6 minutes left on the clock, there's plenty more opportunities that hopefully will come, especially with the raceability of the Hockenheimring. Pete Newman, though, is probably the best one of any to lead this charge, to have a chance at going at Carl Jacklett. Ridley, of course, maybe just wanting to ride the train, stay in his slipstream and use him to potentially better his position. Of course, that gap already down 4 tenths, and it's only been realistically 1 corner. So if Ridley and Manorville can stay in a slipstream, they could, maybe, for Manorville obviously get on the podium, for Ridley, a chance at a win, a chance at a 2nd place.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what Ridley can do, whether or not he's going to be able to hold on from Eric Manorville. Carl Hardy's in a bit of a battle down here with Paul Godden, Roger Morton and David Ayres. This is the 3 pros here once more. Ayres, of course, involved in the incident earlier on. Roger Morton's going to try and go up the inside of turn 10. This is going to be a brave move. Hardy's got to leave him room on the outside. Is Morton going to allow him space to come back on? He does here as well. Now Hardy slops at the inside. Morton's going to run around the outside line. Is he going to be able to get through as well? Morton's off the side of the circuit. He's got the room to come back on once more. How is he going to be able to do this now? Is he going to go and chuck it out the inside of Carl Hardy again before coming round the final corner? He doesn't here as well. Bailiff's got Delmont for company though here, Craig as well, and they're having a battle down into turn 1.
Yeah, lots of lovely little battles forming here. I think, particularly going back to the Carl Hardy and Roger Morton battle, that's definitely not going to be over. Those guys have been doing a lot of practice this week together. So, yeah, they're going to be fighting. We've got side-by-side going here. Nice tight line. Give them respectful room. That's how it's done. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Damon, they're still not done. Bailiff there as well. Now coming into the mix is Charles Kellerman. Is he going to be making a little bit of a challenge here on these 2 very fast pros as they're battling out? Kellerman's just slotted right in. Bill Godden just slotted there as well. Dalmont's going to look for the gap on the inside. Bailiff goes in. Big lock of the brakes. Now Kellerman's under attackers here from Paul Godden. Godden's a little bit of door banging once more. These 2, 4, 6 cars thrown a blanket. You can get all of them here as well at the same time. We've got literally 1, 2, 3 work guard by results, or safeguard, or head guard, or whoever guard by result here as well, all within that mix. Charles Kellerman, Paul Godden, it's the Sim Stickers one sandwiched between all of these results cars here. Zach, what's he got to do here to make this one?
Probably buy one of their products, I reckon. Take his pick, obviously. There's a few of them to choose from, and maybe they'll leave him alone as such. But yeah, it's always difficult when you've got so many different people behind you putting that pressure on you. And there's the send. Actually, I think that's Carl Hardy just trying to push his way through. Roger Morton as well, just giving me a little bit of an encouraging boost from behind. So yeah, go on, go for it. Just do it, and I'll follow you through. In fact, it's actually ended up with them side by side. In fact, no, it hasn't. Yeah, Carl Hardy fighting with Paul Godden. This is not necessarily Roger Morton, who is himself trying to get himself into the mix. Hardy on the right-hand side through turn number 1. It's going to be way too far extended by Godden, but he rejoins. Bit of door banging, in fact, with Carl Hardy on the rejoin, and now Roger Morton might well be able to thread the needle. Slow down for Carl Hardy, I think.
Yeah, I believe so on that one. It looks like the battle up front has developed as well. Carl Jacklett and Pete Newman running side by side, coming down into turn 6. I think Jacklett's going to have the Oh, he's not. He had it for a brief moment now, and unfortunately overcooked the corner entry there, Greg, and didn't quite manage to survive on that one.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's tried to capitalise on as much as he possibly can on what's happened throughout this race. He had a good second half lead at one point, but we all know how quick Newman can be. He's putting up a really good fight here, though. He's not going to give it away that easily. So it's far from over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Carl Jacklett is one of the hardest ones to overtake here as well. Zach, we've seen him in multiple series that the JPB do as well in the TCRs. He's done a great job in that. His racecraft's improved. We've seen it over the last season or so. He's been absolutely amazing. He's been a rock, promoted to the pros this season as well. Putting on a good show at the moment.
As he always does. I mean, his defence is, as we've touched on, phenomenal. He's just one of those incredibly consistent drivers that will always deliver. We might just be able to create one extra lap out of this. No, in fact, Barney the Flagman waving the flag. This is the final lap of the race. Carl Jacklett then going to be under a ton of pressure from Pete Newman, who wants to exit this round with a win, gets squeezed all the way to the right-hand side, and now comes the reigning champion side by side in the background as well. But Carl Jacklett has to assume the outside of the circuit. Pete Newman then going to try and keep it firm over the Sausage Curb, jumps over nearly into the side of the 42 machine. Carl Jacklett stays ahead for now.
Jacqueline down the parabolica here for the final time. Once more, they've got a minute on the clock, and it is still Jacqueline holding on. He's fighting like his life depended on it, and so he should as well. He's got to get this corner right. He can open up his steering a little bit. Newman trying to cut back Ridley into the mix. Manifold and Draper. 5 cars by now on the final time here through turn 8. Through Mercedes they go. Jacqueline once more. Managing to hold on. He's come across Pete Newman. He's got his nose off here as well. It's going to be a run down to the line now. Pete Newman tucked up behind Carl Jacqueline. 30 seconds on the clock as we say. Barney is waving. He's hanging on. He is hanging on. Jacqueline's going on the defensive. He's not going to allow Newman to take that inside line. Yeah, almost contact there as well. And Jacqueline's going to come through, I think. I think he's going to take this victory. Is Jacqueline. He's going to get the win. He's got to hold on. He's got 2 more corners. He's got to make sure he can keep this position. Carl Jacqueline coming around the final corner. He is going to win for the Motor Photo Media team. Carl Jacqueline. He's taken the victory here in race 3. Newman, Ridley, Manifold and Draper all come over literally less than a second apart there. Jason Morris, I believe that's his first win in the AMS this season. Great racing there as well. And then Roger Morton and all the others all come over the line all at the same time there as well. Great win for Carl Jacqueline there, Craig, and possibly one that he deserved on merit.
Absolutely, that was a fantastic last lap from Carl Jacqueline. Of course, to be there to begin with, he's obviously had a fantastic race. But yeah, Pete Newman's a tough guy to defend against, and to be fair, having raced with Carl Jacqueline for many years, you know, if there's anyone that can defend, it's Carl Jacqueline. So yeah, well done, and a massive well done to Jason Morris as well on his AM win.
Yeah, absolutely, some great victories there once more. We're just waiting for the last few to come over the line, which would be Sir Alan Toon, and we got the number 20 car behind him there as well of Andy Littler as he's finished here once more. Wayne Palmer all the way around in 18th, did manage to keep on there as well, with some great racing once more from these guys. It's been a very interesting race, so let's see how this all pans out when we have a chat to some of these drivers. Once we do the results, we will get people in for a chat with us, as Carl Jacqueline, funny enough and obviously enough, is in the interview room waiting for us already, and we haven't even done the results. So let's bring you up the results of the final race of the evening here. And now, here they are. Carl Jacqueline is your winner. He hung on there like a absolute trooper on the final lap. Pete Newman coming over in second and Carl Ridley in third. That is your 1, 2, 3 in the pros. Then you got Eric Manifold, Mark Draper and Luke Maxwell. Jason Morris finishing in 7th for taking the win in the AMS. I believe that is his first one, with Adam Dalmont in 8th and John Bailiff in 9th, and then Charles Kellerman coming over 2nd in the AMS in 10th overall. Roger Morton in 11th with Carl Hardy and David Ayres 11th, 12th and 13th. Then we've got Paul Godham finishing off the podium in 14th place. Jack Andrews, Chris Dixon, Sir Alan Toon and Wayne Palmer coming over the line in 18th, and then Dan Lewis, Andy Littler, Ollie Ricks and Edward Parfitt behind that one. But as he's here and as he's taken the victory, we can go and have a chat to Carl Jacqueline once more, who will be here in the booth with us. Let's have a chat with Carl. Carl, welcome into this, sir. How are you?
Grinning.
Grinning?
Grinning, yes.
A very good win, dear sir. Very good win indeed.
Yeah, my elbows were right out.
Oh, yeah, they definitely were. And you did a stellar job in the process there, Carl. Taking that victory in the final race as well. Absolutely stellar job. How was your evening, obviously, apart from the victory in race 3?
Race 2 was a bit of a mare. Yeah, we won't dwell on that one. But the rest of the evening's been pretty good. I've not done any practice on this track at all, so it was all a bit new at the beginning, finding my way round. But I seem to have picked it up at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely did. How was it? How was the last few laps there with Pete Newman tucked up right behind him?
Well, it was Pete Newman I had the problem with on the second race, so I think he was being a bit gentle with me. But yeah, it was nice to run around the outside and get the speed. It works quite well sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is there as well. Kev Aylett was in YouTube chat saying, go, go, Carl. And then as well, JB Deju said, nice finish. And then Paul, great last lap from Carl there. Great defending. So you got fans out there, Carl.
Well, I do seem to be getting a bit of a reputation for defending.
You do?
I quite often hang it on around the outside and keep that speed up. I think quite a lot of that is my oval experience. Quite often the outside can be quicker.
Yep.
If you get the line right, because you come off the corner with more speed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely did that, and you did a stellar job in the process, mate. Great. Absolutely amazing victory there as well. Carl, anyone you want to shout out before I let you go this evening?
Yeah, I'm actually going to have a shout out to Pete Newman for not killing me on the last lap.
Well, fair play. I don't think he was ever going to kill you. I think he was driving like he should have done there as well. But great evening for you, Carl. Thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. And I hope we catch up with you on Friday for the TCRs.
Yeah, I'll be here this week. I was absent last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look forward to seeing it there, Carl, as well. Thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. And congratulations on your win in race 3.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we'll have a chat with the man himself here as well, in Paul Godden, for joining us. Paul, welcome in, dear sir. Another evening of 3 podiums out of 3.
Yeah, evening, James, and no, it was trying to try and get some good points tonight because Daniel just had the pace on me, unfortunately. But it was a good evening again, though.
Yeah, it definitely was. Some interesting things going on this evening. Do we think the full moon may have had something to do with some of the incidents that we've seen here tonight?
Sure, there wasn't many incidents that I was involved in or happened around me. But what I did see was a lot of cars on the first couple of laps very loose and causing a bit of trouble. And there was obviously the quicker guys trying to get through the slower guys. And there wasn't much difference in pace tonight, I don't think, between a lot of the AMs and the pros. So I think it was one of those races where everyone was just very close to each other. And the track, you can get slowdowns quite easily, and also there's not masses of places to overtake. It's a hard old track for racing when you're all that close. But no, I didn't see much at all. I need to have a look back and see one that Wayne was involved in. But no, overall it was a really enjoyable evening, and I was gutted I couldn't get Charles on that last one. I was battling him so hard, and then the 3 pros come up behind me, and I was like, I'm not going to let him go past. And then I ended up being 3 wide of him somehow, and I'm like, I'm stuck in the middle here between my old between Roger and David from last year. So I know they're fairly clean races, but it was still a bit touch and go. I was like, with 1.5 minutes to go, last thing I want to do is damage the car. But I managed to get out of it without too much damage, and I think I might have picked a podium up in that last one, which
you did.
Wasn't too bad in the end. So that was what my aim was for that race.
Yeah, leading the championship going into tonight. Are we going to come out of the last race at Tsukuba with Paul Godden an AM champion?
I'm not sure. I think it's so close between quite a few of us. It just takes a couple of little incidents, and if you haven't quite got the pace on that night, I think there's going to be. I think every week I've been racing with someone different at the front. I've just been consistent enough to be in the podium, but last week I didn't quite have the pace on Daniel. He was 1 or 2 tenths a lap quicker, but he made mistakes towards the end of the race. But tonight he was just solid and didn't make any mistakes at all. It was only lap 1 he was really loose into the hairpin, so he must have had quite a loose rear end, and I didn't want to tap him round or anything like that because that's not my kind of style. But when you're main competitors sideways in front of you, it's you have to just back off, and it's frustrating because you think, oh, he's made a mistake, I should have capitalised on that, but I just couldn't. So, but thanks for Wayne though. In that, I don't know if you saw race one, he let me have the pole position so I could try and keep up with Daniel, and then we ended up in the same positions at the end of the race anyway. So, but it was good that he managed to be a real team player and give me the opportunity to try and get away from him. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out how we wanted it to.
Team orders on round 4, Paul.
Yeah.
Cool, blimey.
Yeah.
You guys are starting early.
We work very well as a team, me and Wayne. We work out who's quickest quite early on, and if someone's quicker than the other one, we'll let them through. And then we'll work out what happens at the end of the racing, and if we can swap back for any reason, we will. If it's fair and we're not going to cause trouble to anyone or risk losing a place, but if not, we'll just settle with what it is. But we've raced with each other for a long time in sim racing and radio control car racing as teammates. So we work extremely well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a stellar job from you there, Paul, taking 3 out of 3 this evening. Great job. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go, buddy?
Yeah, shout out to yourself and the admin team for putting on a great race series, and the racing, I think, is just getting better and better each season. The AMs and pros are getting closer to each other, and overall, I think the racing standards have improved year on year as well. You do get the odd here and there, but when these cars, you have to battle so hard to keep with them. You're going to have the odd incident here and there, and once the car's tapped around, like here, there's a lot of off-camber corners, and so the car can just get very loose, and once you've done that, you're sideways, and the whole field's going to come through and cause an incident, unfortunately. But no, it was a really enjoyable evening, and lastly, thanks to all the drivers, because without them, we wouldn't have a series to be in, and we get really good numbers each week. I've been in some leagues where you get a good one week and a poor turnout the next week, but this is just consistent throughout the whole championship, which is just shows how strong a championship it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much there, Paul, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon, no doubt.
Good everyone. Cheers, guys.
Take care. All right, next up on the list, we'll have a chat with Adam Dalmont. He took 2 victories. He won in race 1. He won in race 2. And the top 15 reverse may have given him a little grief, and he finished 7th overall. But let's have a chat how he felt his night was gone. Adam, welcome in, bud.
Good evening. How are you guys?
I'm very well, thank you, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I mean, I won't lie. I'm a little miffed about the last race. Obviously, we're going so well. Qualified pole, race 1 win, race 2 win. Got past Pete twice in that last race and managed to gap him a little bit, and twice got taken out by an AM that I'm not fighting with. So obviously it's a little frustrating, mate, because Pete went on to fight for winning that, and I had to recover twice. So I just can't get me around somebody who's willing to throw away a win to fight off somebody who's not even in the same class. There's nothing gained or lost if we pass each other, apart from me losing because I'm trying to chase pros that have already passed him. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. I'll never get it.
We had this discussion on the broadcast, buddy, and the problem is as well, I think from our perspective, it is maybe not for you because obviously, you're up there every single week. It's like Paul Godden just said in his interview then just a minute ago, is the AMs are getting closer to the pros. So the racing's becoming more and more difficult, and we've seen that evolve over season 1, 2, 3, and now we're in 4. And we've seen it evolve that they are getting closer, Adam. It's going to be harder for them pros to come through.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're saying, and some of the AMs and some of the pros are very tightly, close on time. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're leading a race in your class, you will always lose time fighting someone quicker than you that's behind you. It's facts, or you're pushing the risk factor of an incident up way higher, trying to fend off someone who, if there's a couple of tenths between it, it's nothing, is it? But when you're talking a second a lap difference, maybe even a touch more, is there any point? You know, and I get where he's coming from, and I know he's probably conscious that there's AMs behind, but trying to get people to say you cost yourself more time fighting than just letting a quicker driver go, and then just sit on the bumper. We've seen it time. Look at how Carl Jacqueline won season last year. What did he do? He used his head every single round, and every time he was out front and leading, when a quick driver that he knew he couldn't hold back came up, he didn't cost himself any time. It's as simple as a fractional lift and then pull back in behind. You lose nothing, but then you gain 3 to 4 laps of tow off someone who's a lot quicker than you that you can follow and gain from. And what did he do? He sailed away to a championship. So just obviously it's frustrating, mate. It's just that meant every driver saw the mentality of Carl last season and saw how he won it.
Yeah, I do.
More people need to take that forward and learn more. They will learn so much more following than they will try to keep somebody behind them.
Yeah, no, I see your point on that one, and I think that we can be relatively in agreement with that situation. I think it's always tough with the closeness of the field, but I think overall the racing, we've had some bumps, some bruises this evening as well, and there's been a little bit of carnage going on somewhere else, and people doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So the whole evening has been a little bit up and down here for you, Adam. Going forward, where do we see Adam Delmont on his quest to overturn Pete Newman for a championship?
Well, I'm pushing for it, mate. I mean, obviously, normally I'd have thrown those 2 races away on last lap. So, it's one step in right direction.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the thing. I do agree with you that there has been times, as you say, you've thrown it away. But now you're putting yourselves in positions where you are managing to hold on to the position, which is great from our perspective. And I think I'll be interested to see where you come out with the scores there, dear sir, because I think it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, I think due to race 3, though, I probably have lost. Well, I lost out to Pete on points for that. I mean, obviously, I think maybe by a point or 2, but he's already a point or 2 ahead of me, and it just gives him another 1 or 2 just when I was in front of him.
But
that's the only reason. So.
Yeah, but you did gain points in race 2. You finished first, he finished second. So I suppose you're gaining as much as you're losing maybe as the evening's gone on. But I'm definitely excited to see where the scores come out there, buddy. Thank you so much, Adam, for joining us. Yeah, it definitely is going to be a close one. I think this is going to run on all season long here as well. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, you guys as always for everything you do behind the scenes, all the drivers, Next Gen and SRL and all their associated sponsors as always, mate. And thank you very much.
Oh, we look forward to seeing you on Friday then, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers, pal.
Bye. Right, next up, we will finish off this evening's interviews with the young man who, if I'm not mistaken, has taken his first win this evening. Jason Morris, are you there?
Hi guys, yeah, I'm here. Can't believe I got my first time win.
Yeah, I thought it was, and I did say that as well. Congratulations, buddy. How did that feel?
Excellent. Yeah, great. Frustrated in the first race. Fighting with John, and I knew I was faster than John from qualifying, and I didn't want to fight with him because he's a pro. And this season, I've said to myself that I've just come back into sim racing after a few personal problems over the last 12 months. And I said to myself, I'm an AM driver and that's who I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight AM racers. But John, I was trying to get up to the other AM guys in front of him, and I knew I was quicker than him. So I thought, if I've got to get my own positions, I've got to get past John. Do you know what I mean? And on that T1, I'm pretty certain I were up inside of him at T1, and he just wiped my nose, and I had to take a slowdown on inside, otherwise I'd have been crashed out but so I decided to take slowdown, but hey ho. So I think I finished 15th or 16th in that race. And in race 2, I think it were Paul Godden and Wayne Palmer who were teammates, and I were in between them, and it really felt like they were working very well together. And I was getting frustrated because again, I knew I slightly quicker than them. But in race, it's not about that, is it? It's about racing and outwitting them and getting past them, isn't it? Really.
Mm.
But then race 3, we got to race 3, and I found I were in second position, and Ollie were first position in Am, and I saw Adam coming up behind me, and I know Adam's like way faster than what I am. So I thought, right, and I said to Adam in Discord, I said, mate, whichever side you're going up, just let me know, and I'll try and use you to drag me up to Ollie.
Mm.
Which it did, and then what happened, and I found myself in lead, and I just thought, wow, don't make any mistakes now, Jace.
Yeah, mate.
And you'll get it, and I won it.
Yeah, you definitely did there, son. It's going to be a big old boost of points. I think it's going to be very interesting to see when the standings come out, mate. But you've done an absolute stellar job taking that win, going absolutely doing what you had to do. You kept it on track. And you took the victory, and that's all we can ask for here as well, mate. Absolutely stellar job
mate.
from you.
I'm over the moon. Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm glad you are there, buddy. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, mate?
Well, to be fair, yourselves and everybody in this league that's welcomed me back into sim racing with open arms. It really is a close knit community. I've had a lot of problems over the last 12 months, and so thanks to everybody for making me feel welcome.
Yeah, absolutely amazing there, bud. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to having a chat with you next week, hopefully in the same
Cheers,
position,
guys.
Jace.
See you next week.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Well, there you go, Zach. We had a list of interviews, and they all seemed very happy. Carl Jacklett winning the pros, Jason Morris's first win in the AMs as well. We've had a lot of firsts here this evening, and we had some wonderful debates as the evening went on.
Yeah, it's been a eventful evening to say the least. Definitely a broadcast, let's put it that way. And all in all, it's just 3 really successful races. One thing I did notice while Adam was obviously doing his interviews was that I didn't actually slate him this round.
No, you
didn't. I didn't take the mick out of him once.
Mm.
So that's another first.
Well, there you
well
go.
Well done, Adam Delmont.
Zach,
he drove well.
You've turned over a new leaf.
No, I haven't. We both know I haven't.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be all right. Craig, what do you think of this evening's action? It's been interesting.
It certainly has been interesting. Yeah, I mean, race 1 was a very typical race 1. What we expected. There's a little bit of fighting, but yeah, overall good racing. Race 2, to be honest, it's not what this league is about. There's a lot up for debate, and I'm sure there will be a lot of debate continuing. But yeah, I expected a little bit more from the league, if I'm honest. But race 3, the guys turned it around and they delivered what we normally expect from the Clio Cup. So it was really, really good to see. From a personal point of view, it's been great to be in the booth again and have the opportunity to educate young Zach. For me, it's important that I pass on my wisdom and my experience to the youth as well, and I'm sure he's very grateful for that insight.
Fine, because once again, I'm privileged to have given you this opportunity to commentate alongside me, Craig. So, the thanks going both ways, I think.
All right. We're going to wrap up tonight here as well, guys. Thank you so much to everybody that's joined me and everybody that's kept this broadcast going in YouTube chat. John Brown, Al Nasir, Paul, Jamie Deju, everyone as well. And if I haven't called you by name, Stuart Rice as well. Thank you so much. And Phil, as always, I do apologise, but I love every single one of you. Don't forget, if you are watching this back, let us know your opinions on the incidents as well. We will have a read of the comments and we'll see how you're getting on. See who was right in race 1, who was right in race 2, and who was right in race 3. It's been an action-packed evening here as well. But I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Zach Sweeney. I've been alongside Craig Jones. And from all of us up here in the booth, you all take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.